Have you ever wondered, what are the star signs of the characters in Final Fantasy X?
No.
Because I have. Am I qualified for this? Absolutely not. Have I done my research though? Kinda. So I have been looking at the ZODIAC signs and their personality traits, and I believe that I am now well equipped to discuss the characters and which ZODIACs they belong to. Does that make sense?
Of course I'm making perfect sense.
Let's hope so. Before we get into this video though, I'm going to remind you that we now have memberships. So if you want to become a Jamily member or a Super Jam, you can pay a monthly subscription to get early access to videos, exclusive behind the scenes footage, as well as shout outs at the end of every video. If you do not want to pay a monthly subscription, that is okay. You can just leave a one-off payment underneath with the thanks button on YouTube, and I will still shout that out at the end of every video. But without further ado, let's get into it with the main character. And I know what you're thinking, Tidus is the main character. Well, you're wrong.
It's an urban legend that never happened.
In my opinion, Yuna is the main character of Final Fantasy X. The story really does revolve around her, and she is just the best. And the reason she is the best is because she just so happens to be a Libra. And hey, I myself am a Gemini, and Geminis and Libras, they are both air signs. They gel together very well, so it makes sense that I love Yuna. The words that I've put in bold here that really represent her is diplomatic.
I thought it would be the best thing to do.
And indecisive.
I do not know, but I will do my best.
Diplomatic because she's always trying to think about what is best for Spira. It's her entire ethos is just making sure everything is fair, making sure that she is doing no wrong at all. And that is a very, very Libra trait.
I believe that they should, our education over here in the US should help the US.
Libras are always trying to do good for everyone, trying to do the best and be the best.
If my getting married would help Spira, if I could do that for people, maybe I should do what I can.
And indecisive, she goes back and forth between what is good for Spira and what is good for her, and it makes her incredibly indecisive, which is just very, very Libra of her. Fair, fun-loving. Fun-loving is quite an obvious one for Yuna. She is always trying to have a good time. She says several times that she wants her journey to be full of laughter.
I want my journey to be full of laughter.
And in Final Fantasy X too, I feel like her entire ethos is around having fun, which again, very Libra of her. Sophisticated, she is always trying to speak properly, she is always trying to be professional.
Thank you, Your Grace.
Romantic, we see this with Tidus, she's artistic, cooperative, she works well in a team. Libra qualities right here. So negative traits, we have that she's a bit fragile, fearful, codependent and gullible. She does sort of believe anything that is said to her. There are certain teachings and ways that she has to do things, and she just follows them quite blindly without ever questioning them, until someone like Tidus forces her to question it.
Ever since I was young, I never questioned it. But now that you ask me if it is that bad or not, I don't know.
Codependent, you know, she has her guardians that are there to protect her at all times, blah 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 blah. You get the idea. We're going to move on now to Tidus, who I had a bit of trouble with. I think he is mainly an Aries, but I've said he's an Aries-Pisces cusp because they are right next to each other on the zodiac thing, so it's possible if you're born on a certain day that you can be a little bit Aries and a little bit Pisces. But he is mainly Aries, so I'm going to go through the Aries traits first. The key ones I've noted are adventurous. When you think about it, like, he was just thrown into Spira. He could have just sat around, played blitzball, waited to go home, but he kind of sought out adventure. He never shied away from adventure. He takes on every challenge head on, and he kind of just goes with it. As long as he knows that it's an adventure, he's along for the ride.
Yuna, anywhere you go, I'll follow. Let's go!
And a negative trait that is very key to Tidus is that he is reckless. Several times, especially in the early game, you see him just kind of disobey rules and just go with what his gut is telling him. I think a good example is when he's in the church and they're like, "You're not allowed to come in here," and he's like, "I don't care," and just runs in anyway. That's a very Aries trait.
The precepts must be obeyed.
Like I care.
They're impulsive, you know, they're insensitive, a little bit impatient, argumentative, short-tempered, brash, irresponsible, restless. These are all words that describe Tidus.
What am I supposed to say? You tell me it's my decision, but I don't have a choice, do I? I don't care about your stories.
Let's go through some positive traits. He's independent, daring, optimistic, a leader, enthusiastic, quick-witted, and confident. Need I say more? That is very Tidus.
Let me handle this.
No way! I can take it! Hey, if we Guardians do our job, no problem, right?
Ooh.
Confident.
But the reason I think he might be a Pisces as well, so somewhere on the cusp, is because there is nothing in an Aries that talks about their emotional state. And I feel like a lot of the story revolves around Tidus being a bit of a crybaby, as they say.
So my subscribers showed up for me.
Even though I don't actually think he is, I think he just was when he's a kid and he's kind of grown out of that. You can see here in a negative trait of Pisces, self-pitying, emotional, oblivious, temperamental, naive. They do fit Tidus, but not as much as the Aries ones. And the positive traits for Pisces don't really fit him. The only 3 that I could find was adaptable, easygoing, and compassionate. He has to adapt to his situations in Spira, and I think he does so very well. He is quite easygoing, he does go with the flow, and he is compassionate, I suppose. I am going to say he is mainly an Aries, because it's just a very fun, adventurous, and energetic energy star sign, and Tidus is all of that, right? You get it? We get it. Okay, let's move on to Wakka. And Wakka, when I think about Wakka, which I try not to do because Wakka is a silly bum bum.
Watch your profanity.
I tend to think that he is a Leo. It's quite strange that he's a Leo because I am quite drawn to Leos. You know, Gemini and Leos, they get on quite well together. But I despise Wakka. He could also be a Taurus. I did battle with the fact that he could be a Taurus, but I did end up on Leo, and I'm gonna tell you why. So the main positive trait that fits with Wakka is leader. He is the captain of the Aurochs. That's really about it. But you can tell that he is a strong leader. He has no problem fitting in the leader role and taking charge on things.
All right, last meeting before the match. Also.
And then the main negative trait of Leo that fits for Wakka is stubborn.
But this isn't our bed shop. It's because of people like the Al Bed screwing everything up.
Taurus is actually known as the most stubborn of the star signs, but I just feel like the other characteristics of Leo just fit more, such as cocky, arrogant, overbearing, and childish. Wakka is all of those things.
Sir Auron's just concerned about your health.
I'm not tired one bit.
He refuses to change his mind about any of his thoughts and beliefs until the very end of the game, but he's very set in his ways and believes that his way is correct, and that makes him a very frustrating character. And Leos can be quite frustrating. But then some positive traits: he's ambitious, he's loyal, he's determined, confident, charismatic, and generous. Those are all very true for Wakka.
Something I want to give you.
Whoa, you're giving this to me?
Yeah, use it well.
He is very confident and charismatic. He has no issue speaking his mind, taking charge. Even if he says the wrong thing, he does so with confidence.
I can't believe I've been traveling with an Al Bed, a heathen. Sin was born because people use Machina.
You got proof? Show me proof.
It's in Yevon's teaching. Well, not that you know.
That's just very Leo to me. This is so dumb. Right, let's move on to the next character. Auron, who again is one of my favorite characters. So the reason I think that Auron is a Virgo is because he is modest, but also distant. Those are the key words that I've chosen. Modest in the sense that he never gives away too much of himself, you know? He's very proud, he's very brave, he's very strong.
We will protect Yuna from anyone.
But he never sort of why did I say it like that? You're never gonna see Auron acting foolish.
Foolish samurai warrior.
In terms of being distant, again, it's that thing of Auron not really sharing too much of himself.
How do you know all of this anyway? I'm not done talking to you. Don't you run away.
You're the one running.
He keeps himself in the back a lot during the story. He is a key part of the story, but he never reveals too much. He's also quite pessimistic, aloof, a little bit judgmental, and maybe overly concerned. Some of those don't exactly fit with him. I do think pessimistic, aloof, and distant are very, very Auron traits.
I wanted to change the world too, but I changed nothing.
I thought he could also be a Capricorn, but I have decided on Virgo. But if you think there is something that fits him more, I would love to hear it in the comments, because it's hard. It's hard to actually pinpoint it. There are little bits of their traits in every star sign, you know what I mean?
No.
But the positive traits do make sense for Auron. He's reliable, he's logical, patient, kind, analytical, and a hard worker. He thinks about things before he does them, and he never rushes into things. I think patience is another key one.
We think and we wait.
kind of just waits for story moments to unfold. You never see him rushing around. And it's in very stark contrast to Tidus. I think a good example of this is when they're both in prison together in Bevelle. Tidus is shaking the door like, let me out, I need to go, I'm so Aries, I just need to like go have adventures and be free.
No one says that, but yes.
Blah, 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 blah. And Auron's just sat there chilling like, bro, just be patient. We will be out of this in no time. So just like chill the F out.
Get me out of here! I want out now! You hear me?
You waste your breath.
That is why I think Auron is a Virgo. Ooh. A Virgo. That's why Auron's a Virgo. Lulu. Lulu is the one that I said is a Capricorn over Auron. It's very possible that two characters have the same star sign. But for the purposes of this video, I want to treat each character like they are different. And like Lulu is the most earth sign queen I've ever met in my life. She is so Capricorn. There is like no other reasoning for me that she could be anything other than Capricorn. And I'm gonna tell you why. Two big traits that I've highlighted: disciplined and cold. She is very strong. She is always the one trying to set Yuna on the correct path, you know? You can tell she is a very disciplined person.
We're all going to the temple anyway. Can't this wait till later?
Doesn't like to cut corners, likes to do things properly, and that does make her quite a cold character. She's hard to sort of get close to. She is always very to the point.
Sin didn't take Chapu anywhere. Sin crushed him and left him on the Jose shore. Your brother won't just pop back.
A little bit pessimistic, cynical, stern, stubborn, and melancholic. That is Lulu at her core. She is always the one that is saying really harsh truths to Tidus. And Tidus is a bit like, whoa.
You truly are clueless. Are you sure it's just your memory that's the problem?
But some positive traits: she's very self-controlled, she's sincere, she's tolerant, loyal, practical. That is Lulu down.
Boots the house down, slay queen, hunty mama, and oop daddy work. Charlie X yet snatch my whip.
If she says something, you know that she really means it. She is a sincere person.
You really gave it your all, didn't you?
She's very loyal to Yuna. She tolerates a lot of BS from Wakka. Even though she does snap at him and can be very cold towards him, she does also tolerate it at the same time. And yeah, Lulu is like, there is no changing my mind about this one. Lulu is Capricorn energy. Rikku, I've said, is a Gemini. She is the same star sign as myself. How many times am I going to tell you I'm a Gemini in this video?
I don't care. I don't care. Okay. I really don't give a fuck.
I was always very connected to Rikku as a child. She was my favorite character. I thought she was cool as hell. And maybe I saw a bit of myself in her and that's why. Who knows? But everything about Rikku gives us Gemini. So let's go through the main traits that I have highlighted: expressive and sarcastic.
Twist our arms, why don't you?
That is Rikku at her core, you know? She's very sociable, curious, charming, youthful, energetic, clever, animated.
Yudi's not getting married, is she? It's your big chance, huh?
This is what Rikku is all about. She is always the one that is darting around the screen, making noise, being expressive, making people laugh, talking to other characters. Yeah, she's a very animated character. She's the one that does the most moving on screen, usually. And yeah, she is also quite sarcastic. She's always joking around with Wakka.
It was my idea. Let me tell them.
It's like this, yeah?
I just thought...
Poking fun at him because she can sort of see his stubborn ridiculousness and she sort of like pokes. That's what Geminis do. They poke a bit. They recognize things and it's never malicious. It's always just a little bit of a poke for a bit of fun. She's also quite scattered, impatient, unpredictable, and deceptive. All of these traits are just at her core. You know, at her being, she is Gemini. There is no Geminian about it.
No one says that, but yeah.
Unpredictable is a good one. She does like do some like weird sometimes.
You're giving me the creeps.
She is just a little bit strange at times. I think we've said enough for Rikku, so let's move on to Kimahri. And Kimahri is another one that I couldn't quite decide. And I think he is mainly Taurus, but I've put Taurus/Aries. I'm going to go over the Taurus traits first, the main ones being courageous and the main negative one being intolerant. Kimahri does not put up with any BS. If something is not right, he takes charge and he stops it.
You guys do need my help because this is totally unacceptable. I'm on my way.
And I think that is like basically means he's intolerant to any bull.
I will destroy Spira. I will save it.
Short-tempered, insensitive, and headstrong. It's hard with Kimahri because he doesn't speak much. He's a very quiet character, and there isn't really like a star sign that is just inherently quiet. So yeah, this one was very, very difficult, but the positive traits are that he is warm-hearted, confident, independent, and like I said before, courageous. But then when you move on to the Aries side, I thought these kind of fit him as well. Loyal, kind, generous, gentle, independent, trustworthy, patient, and determined.
In dark times, she must shine bright. Kimahri try too.
I think the key thing for Kimahri is that he is reliable and loyal. It's almost like his mission to protect Yuna, whereas everyone else is a friend of Yuna that they want to help her because they love her, whereas Kimahri, it's like his entire life and his being. He's like her main bodyguard in a way.
Yuna needs Kimahri. Kimahri protect Yuna.
And then some negative ones of Aries that fit him are that he can be a bit possessive, lazy, jealous, and self-absorbed. I don't know if I agree with a lot of those really. Mainly like jealous perhaps of Tidus, because like at the beginning he tries to kill Tidus because he sees him as a threat to Yuna. But like, is he lazy? Not really. Is he possessive? Potentially a little bit over Yuna and stuff. Again, it's a tricky one. I'm gonna say he's mainly Taurus. I would say he has the positive traits of the Taurus, but the negative traits of the Aries, in my opinion. He's another one on the cusp, which is a bit of a cop-out, I must admit, but hey, this is difficult, you know, especially with someone like Kimahri who doesn't really speak very much. And that is all of the main cast, but whoa, bonus round. Let's go through the villains and let's start with Seymour. And this seems like pretty obvious that Seymour would be a Scorpio. Scorpio is kind of known to be the sort of more mischievous and evil star sign, and that's not to say all Scorpios are evil, horrible people. I know plenty of Scorpio and they're lovely people. It's just they're the easiest one to pin the villain on. And when you look at these traits, it does make the most sense for Seymour. The two that I've highlighted as the most meaningful towards Seymour are purposeful and suspicious. And he is definitely a suspicious character.
That's suspicious.
From the second you meet him, he just has a very suspicious look about him.
But using Machina, that's bad, isn't it?
Pretend you didn't see them.
Beg your pardon, but that's not something a maester should say.
Then pretend I didn't say it.
Some other negative traits are that he is aggressive, possessive, domineering, shrewd, and obstinate. That's like he's clearly very aggressive towards our entire party and the rest of Spira. He kind of just like claims Yuna as his own, which is the sort of possessive side.
That, Yuna, is why I need you. Come, Lady Yuna. Come with me, Yuna.
He dominates every space that he's in because he's so powerful, but there are some positive aspects to his personality. He is protective, he is brave, he's definitely intelligent, dedicated, and disciplined. Dedicated is another key one. He is like, I am going to be Sin, and I am going to marry Yuna whether she likes it or not. Like when he wants something, he like goes for it.
I will take from you your strength, Yuna, your life, and become the next Sin. I am part of Sin. I am one with Sin. Forever.
This is definitely the most fitting for Seymour. And finally, let's go with Tidus's dad, who I've said is an Aquarius. And I think it's highly possible that he's an Aries like Tidus, but I thought Aquarius fit also. He is humorous, but also emotionally detached. He's always cracking jokes. He's always like trying to make people laugh. He's a very sociable character, again, because he's an air sign.
You've really grown.
Yeah, but you're still bigger.
Well, I am Sin, you know.
That's not funny.
But he is very emotionally detached. He doesn't really realize when he's being mean to Tidus as a child. He kind of doesn't see that Tidus's emotions are a real thing. He kind of just like pushes it aside, throws it aside, doesn't recognize it.
Just a sec, dear.
Go to him. He'll cry if you don't.
Some other positives of Jecht's personality is that he's social, independent, charismatic, and honest. These are all Aquarius traits. But then some negatives are that he is aloof, bit distant, chaotic, unpredictable, eccentric, which I guess is actually kind of a positive, I don't know why it's in that box, contradictory, rebellious, and insensitive. Whenever Auron tells you stories about Jecht, like when he got drunk and stabbed a shoepuff, that sort of shows his insensitiveness, his rebellion, his unpredictability, and his chaotic energy. Imagine you're just about to ride a shoepuff and then your mate gets and just decides to stab it. That's a bit like, whoa, chaos, bit crazy. That is why I think Jecht is an Aquarius. So that wraps up the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to do another one next week on the Final Fantasy 12 characters, so stay tuned for that. And then after that, we are going to get a new challenge run, and it's all very linked, and you're going to find out more next week. But for now, let's read out some tips from the last video. Victor Eyes 9383 said, "Thank you for doing this series. I thoroughly enjoyed it." Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Shamandez said, "Great videos. Thanks for doing these. Always look forward to these hilarious videos each weekend." Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. That is a lovely, lovely message. That is what I want from these videos, is for people to look forward to them and enjoy them and want more and more and more. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And then the Shower of Slime says, "Thank you so much for these. Your sense of humor and memes always cause me to pause a laugh for a good 5 minutes. Then I spend more time looking into the memes and then I continue your videos. Keep up the great work." That means a lot to me too. I'm glad that people are appreciating my weird sense of humor, because that is ultimately what I want to do with these, is make people laugh and smile. So thank you so much for that. And finally, from X Delta Fire, we have, "Thanks, that was a lot of fun." Well, thank you very much, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying the content. That wraps up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name has been Jamsack. See you guys next time.